So first, I would like to thank Rutgers and PHADA for the opportunity to speak up here. When Christine had first contacted me, it's probably been a month and a half or so ago, I was honored, I was elated. I immediately set forth to bragging around my office that I had been selected amongst my peers for this esteemed honor, and how my colleagues must think very highly of me and all these things. And in the last couple of days, through conversation, I learned I wasn't first choice. Or second, or even 10th. So I'll apologize now because you're getting about the 10th best as far as that goes from our class. So, but no, in all seriousness, thank you for the opportunity to represent this class. I didn't come up in housing. When I first, first job was retail, and my first real career path was retail. I had worked in grocery stores and department stores and hardware stores and cell phones and just about everything that you could sell, office supplies. I had been a part of selling or managing, or actually a big part of that, I caught the people stealing when it was loss prevention. Which, yeah, you catch me in a bar, there are some great stories from my loss prevention days. But I had grown tired of retail. In 2004, we took a trip down to Florida, actually, there were hurricanes that came through, Charlie, Francis, that type of thing, and we were brought down to open our stores. And this was sold to us as noble work. We're doing noble things. We're coming down here and getting Florida back on its feet. So we all charged right down here, left our families for about 2 weeks, and came down. And in the midst of that trip, I realized we weren't here for as noble a cause as what I thought. It was to get our stores open so that we could, now granted, we sold the supplies for folks to get their homes back in business, but we were down here to make a profit. We were down here to get our stores back open and making a profit. And I kind of realized at that point that was probably the start of my decline in retail, where I wanted a different purpose. I wanted something else to do with my life, with my career, and I wanted it to mean something. So after a few more years of kind of plodding around different types of retail, I was given the opportunity. Some of you may know her, Margie Hulick, the former director of my housing authority, gave me the opportunity to come into housing, and it's been a blessing ever since. I did not realize what that calling would be. I was looking to get out of retail, and it was one of those jobs that kind of spoke to me. I had management experience. I felt like I could come in and do some pretty great things, but I didn't realize once I got here what truly a noble calling it is. People need homes, and that's a big part of what we do. Really, if you boil it down to the basic element, that's primarily what we do, is provide housing. And as I came through learning as an assistant director, Margie brought me along to conferences like this to meet folks like yourselves, and to provide me the opportunity to become an executive director, which I've been blessed with and feel fortunate to do on a daily basis. Things I noticed when I came into the industry, again, the purpose in service that we have, that we're here obviously for a paycheck. We get paid, we get benefits, that type of thing. We all have bills, but who we are, what we do, the importance that we have in our communities, I don't think can be understated. We do very important work. We do dynamic work. Quite simply, we change lives, and that's a big part of when folks ask me what I do. That's generally how I respond, is that we change lives. Another thing that spoke to me was the quality of people in the housing industry. And you can look around at your tables, you can look around this room, you can look at the front table. And Barclay has decades and decades and decades of service in her housing industry. And I don't think folks stick around in jobs like that they don't love. You spend 50 years doing a job that you absolutely hate. I don't have any bit of advice for you. I can't help you. Because I've been in my agency going on 14 years now, and not one of the days it seems like work to me. I love what I do. I love the people I come to work with, both at my agency and my state, and at conferences like these. So the quality of people really spoke to me as well. Change was a big thing. Working in retail, and I know maybe some of you folks have as well, change was constantly. Price changes, changing displays, changing the setup of the store, that type of thing. So I had grown accustomed to an industry that changes, and that's what housing is as well. We see things on a daily basis that We did it this way yesterday, but now here's the new way. We have to do it today, but don't get too used to that, because tomorrow it's going to change and we're going to do something different. So I feel like I can adapt within that, and that's kind of who we are and what we have to do as well. You know, coming through the EDEP program, I've got a couple of my commissioners are here with me, so thanks to those folks for allowing us the opportunity to go through that as well. I had been an executive director already for a few years, and I didn't know what the program would be for me. I had actually brought it to my board in discussions and said, through PHADA, Rutgers University offers a training program, and you know, I don't know if it's something that I feel is a benefit to us at this point, but it'll be an ongoing consideration, and at some point we may decide that we'd like to go through this. So my assistant director, Cheryl, who's down front here, and I talked about it, decided that it would be of benefit to go, to learn, to network with some of the great leaders in this industry, and it's been one of the best decisions I think we've made jointly at the agency. So as we have our graduating class here today, and some of the folks that aren't here, some of the folks that are still going through that, you know, I say be bold in the things that you do. Step out there. Don't be afraid to be right. Well, I shouldn't say don't be afraid to be right. Cheryl tells me I'm never wrong, but don't be afraid to do the right thing. You know, you're the advocates in your community. You're the experts in your community. One of the experiences that we get through this program is we get to go to Washington, D.C., and we have an opportunity to meet with our legislators. And I was very nervous the first time I did that. I went by myself. I didn't have a contingency to go with us, and I went up and just completely nervous. My voice was quivering, I was shaking, I was sweaty, and I sat down, and within 2 minutes of that conversation, I immediately knew I was the expert in the room. That's the case, though, isn't it not? I mean, if you're at church, or you're at the grocery store, or you're at softball, or your kid's soccer game, whatever, we're the experts on what we do. So we have to not be afraid to tell that story, to be bold, to be out front of that for our organizations, for our staffs, and most importantly for our residents, who often don't have the voice that they need in an industry that often forgets the purpose of what it is that we do. So really, just to really close, I don't want to take too much more time. Bernie's given me the red flag, I've already talked too much, but thanks again to Rutgers, to the EDEP program, to PHADA for this opportunity. We've met some amazing people. Everybody at the front tables here has worked very hard over the last year and a half to attend courses, to put time and effort into it, to from the agency resource standpoint, to go back and be better at what we do. And I don't think there's any doubt that any of us is not better than when we started this program. I would say to the commissioners that are here today, and the executive directors who have not gone through the EDEP program, if it's something you're considering, it has my wholehearted recommendation. If you're a commissioner and you're considering something to get your ED training and knowledge in critical areas, this is probably the premier program in the country. So don't hesitate to sign your folks up, put them through the program, and get that certification. So I guess just to close out, I would just refer back to some of the things that we've already heard here at this conference. The history of PHADA, the history of housing programs. That rich history has been handed to us as the graduating class of the historic graduating class of the 40th year of PHADA. Rich history has been handed to us, sometimes troubled. We're in a very tough time right now. But we have the opportunity to be a part of writing the next 40 years of history. As John had just indicated at our table, we will be up here in 40 more years talking about the 80th anniversary of PHADA, and what story will we have for the folks that are sitting out there in the classroom today. So just again, thank you very much for the opportunity. I consider myself very fortunate to have gone through the training with all of you folks, to networked, to have met. Please stay in touch. I intend to do the same, and thank you.